That's
Yes,
fine.
yes, we have a yes. I can hear her. We have a
Yay!
can this time. All right, it
Awesome.
was another idiot error. Some of these
Wait.
settings are quite confusing even for me. Because I'm just like, I pressed that. I pressed it. I really did.
Oh, and I'm
Yeah.
on the line.
So
I
even
found
then,
it.
even I need help with this technology sometimes, huh?
There we are. I got
Um,
this.
but yeah, we
Okay.
did it. Okay, so
Woohoo!
you guys already heard me, and I don't know how we'll do this. Maybe I'll restart and just kind of trim the video. Yeah, let's do it that way. We're gonna
Yeah.
restart as if so YouTube
Hold
people
on.
are gonna realize that nothing happened, and then the Twitch people are going to get it raw because that's just how Twitch is, and nobody cares. But YouTube will
Right.
start as a VOD. So look, welcome everybody to the stream. I know I said it before, but again, we're starting over. This is a brand new stream, so welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And in today's video,
Yeah.
our very first stream, we want to do an introduction that basically welcomes you to this journey. It tells you how we got started with ours and how you could get started with yours. You could already be on the road. You could be a little bit behind. Like things could be happening, and who knows? But how you're getting started. I know how I did, and we're going to go over that. And then Luna's going to tell you how she did. So we want to welcome Luna to the stream one more time, and then we'll get started. So if you want to say anything.
Yes, I just want to say that it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. I just really want to hone in on what got me here to this point and
Yeah.
on my journey in consciousness through consciousess and um
With
yeah,
and through.
with
I feel
and
like
through
it
and
through me, with it happens
and
to me.
yes,
Yeah,
through the mud.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
it
feels like
was.
it. It really does.
Hmm. Yeah, and what it's done for my life
Yeah,
to be awakened and
yeah,
have the insight that I have now, of myself
yeah,
and
yeah.
how that plays a role in everything that I do and the connections I have today and my vibration and um yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, okay, with that being said, what welcome again. So, I guess I'll start this off. So basically, like when it comes to this, like, you know, I was sitting here in this consciousness corner, just kind of reflecting on some of the things that I had been through and the journey that I'd gone through, and for this summer, it's probably been one of the most internal growth areas about like who I am and where I'm from and why am I from, like, but not from the perspective of like locality, but where am I from in this journey, like where did I start from, like where am I at, where do I see myself. And so with me, like I'm gonna start a little bit backwards. This summer has been like one of a lot of reflection. It's been a huge, since I had a major life change happen, and with it just means that I had to reflect on all of the things that I had done wrong, all the things that like just weren't working for me, and staying true to what I knew was right, but it was so hard. And it's funny because also, I feel like I kind of made it to the end of that journey and feel the lessons, have to walk them, but like I see everything that there was to see, or at least until I make it into a new phase. So you feel kind of complete in it, but like, and I had heard one of the songs, this new song by Coast Contra, and they were like, uh, they were reflecting on their version of this same journey, and they're like, one of the first things you have to do is control the flesh. And when he put his verse in about that, I was just like, man, only people who are awakened or going through awakening can even understand that. And then the funniest thing, I got out of work and I was looking at my phone and I saw another girl that was talking to the same concept. She's like, yeah, this self-love journey, nobody tells you about what's hard about it. It's like everybody tells you some of the stuff. And I was like, I mentioned it, but some people just don't. It's a reflection that you're just not going to get until you're in it, until you started the journey. And it's one of understanding, but understanding is painful, and commitment is harder. And once you do it, you don't see things the same anymore. So then communication is harder. It just becomes a thing, but it is a well worth it journey. So, all right. So let's. That's basically my welcome to it. But how did I get started? So, um, we're not even gonna go technical on my timeline because boy, would that be wow, would that be too hard? But either way, somewhere around right around the time I was in the military and getting out, I had a friend that I had known, an acquaintance at my job, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to join a military fraternity?" I didn't go to college first. I just joined the military, and so I didn't have a degree. So military fraternity sounded like something I wanted to do, and so I was like, okay, let's do it. So it comes to a point in that journey where they want you to you start to discuss who you're going to be within within your group. What names are you going to be called? Like, what's your group going to be called? What do y'all want to be about? What do you want to, like how as a brotherhood of however many brothers on your line do you want to be in? Our group had come to the conclusion that we were going to do um, that basically we were going to do Egyptian themed work. And so I had done all the research and all the research, and I stumbled upon Ra, um, or as they call it, the sun god Ra. And I was like, oh, okay, well, especially at the time, I was like, yeah, there's no such thing as another god. So Ra, we'll just leave it right at that. And so I learned all the principles and everything, and I was like, you know what? Well, because to me, scripture was higher than that, or scripture had been proven over that. Like, I was like, oh, okay, I'll take that. That'd be easy because I'm just reflecting worldly instead of, higher power. So I was like, all right, that's the name I want. So I became Amun Ra for that. And so either way, as I was studying that and going through that, I was just like, oh wow, this is cool. And I kept diving further and further. So, fast forward, we do the thing, I pick my name, and we have to make like items. So I pick a staff, and my staff is supposed to be the staff of Moses that I had made. And I'm thinking I'm just so cool, and that staff was pretty cool that I made. But anyway, so fast forward till I get out, and when I get out the military, I don't find a job immediately. Didn't really try, but it doesn't matter to the story. I didn't have a job immediately, and I had disability that turned on, and I had college. So I was like, I'm kind of just gonna sit here and do my thing until I find a job that I really want. So that gave me near 9 months or so of pure all day, every day research. And mind you, we don't need to talk about what I did then, or any of the details, but let's just say my job is an analyst, right? So I was taught to be an analyst, and fresh out of learning how to be an analyst, I start researching this, and man, I'm digging in. I got all day, every day. I'm watching video after video. So what happens is I go from the Egyptology and things like that, the death and Egypt's worship schedule, and then I find the Moors, and then I'm just like, oh, I'm seeing the Moors, and that was at the height of them yelling at everybody on the street and everything like that. And I'm like, I see their concepts, da da da, that's cool. Then I see like the Hebrews versus the Moors, and then I'm looking at the debates, and then I see the Egyptians, and then they're all debating, and this was the height of everybody just fighting each other for who's supreme, like who's most supreme. Like, now I think the internet has said enough of that content, so you can't even find it anymore. But anyway, the point is, I was learning from those guys, and the deeper I got, the more I was like, I get your concepts, but at that time I hadn't yet found the answer. But I just kept feeling like you guys are all saying the same thing, but arguing about semantics, like for what? And then it came to the point where I had learned some information that made me think that the Moors were a lost tribe of the Hebrews. And after that, I could never shake the idea until one day I found the proof that I believed was enough for me to be like, it's the same thing. Like, I'm not gonna debate you guys anymore. It's like it's the same thing. And then the further I got into it, it's like it's all the same thing. And then the deeper and deeper I got, you know, skipping all the minute details because we'll go into that as the story part. But finally realizing that after all of this time, every concept from every one of these walks are about the same thing. Even when you look at and I like to use a lot of video game analogies now that I've gotten into it. Um, and I like to use anime for my analogies. It's the same. It's all about hey, you're about to go through this battle. You're setting the stage from wherever you are, wherever your journey is going to start. It's going to start somewhere. In an anime, it starts at home with the family, showing, and this and the, and everywhere it starts in a different place. You could start because of fire, start because of how bad work was. It could start, I mean, for me, that's how it was. Um, at my job, it's just things weren't what I wanted to be, and I had the few friends I did have were like, "Hey, we're gonna do this," and I was like, "Absolutely, guys, you're my group. Let's do it." And I met some of still my closest friends, people that I still keep in contact with from there. But my final result is that I landed on the idea that I am what needs correction. I am these things. And along the way, I started the podcast and we stopped with that. But it comes down to the idea that you have to correct yourself. You have to be conscious of what's going on. You have to lead down this walk and you have to see what's happening and you have to adjust for it. And you have to you can either do it alone, you can do it with help. And what I realized is that doing it alone is difficult. It's just not fun. So what I wanted to do is have a space here where we can do this together, where we can talk about the concepts, where we can look at all of the concepts of all the different uh, lessons from religious talks, from uh, major publications and things, and turn those into what they're actually trying to get you to see. What is it that this concept is showing? What is all of the things that I have here? What are the concepts that they're supposed to be depicting? You know what I mean? And so if I took the sound bowl, we're talking about frequencies. If we're talking about the crystals, we're talking about energies. If we're talking about the copper, we're still talking about the energies and the flow of electric, things like that. And what do they mean and how do they actually affect you? And we're going to go into those things very deeply. So anyway, I'm going to take a break from ranting on this, and then we're going to we're going to pass it to Luna so she can do her side of how she got started.
Thank you, Yamal.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you said a lot, and it's wild because you had mentioned looking at everything, what your self correction, and it's wild to me because our journeys are very different. Yet one of the core principles for myself was that inventory process and looking at myself and recognizing now what took me there, believe me, I thought I knew everything. Okay, that's one thing coming up. I mean, I was a smart woman, or girl, but I was insecure. It wasn't really nurtured. So I kind of had a inferiority complex and things like that. And I know that now, looking into that.
Yes, yes. Looking back, honestly,
Looking,
I know the
yeah.
same thing. I had the same thing. I think the struggle does help you realize some things a little bit earlier, so I could relate to that.
Yes, absolutely. So with amongst many other things, but for me, I had to meet my match. And when I say I met my match, I mean something that could take me, something that I couldn't beat.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I would have to have
Yeah.
that kind of leveling of pride.
Yeah. Like Michelle
Not
says, you couldn't
necessarily
tell me
pride, you know.
nothing.
Yeah, you can't tell me nothing. No. So, uh, and mental health, alcoholism, depression, uh, early mom,
Yeah.
just, toxic relationships. And I was bitter. I was, I felt very victimized. I was very prideful, so I didn't want to ever say that like anybody uh, had like made me that upset or whatever. But anyway, I ended up hitting rock bottom at 26. I'm 40 now. So when I was 26, I hit rock bottom in my trunk and I had a divine intervention. And
Yeah.
I ended up getting into, and I just want to say this, I'm not trying to teach any sort of program or anything like that, but it is part of my story. So I just want to say that the principles I want to talk about that led me to even further progress in my journey through consciousness and still journeying through. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I ended up being introduced, like, I ended up in like treatment for alcoholism, and it was wild the divine intervention that happened for me because let me hone in on this. It was the moment that I had a moment of clarity where I was able to get honest, like this much, where I was able to see that wait a second, I have a problem here, and I don't want to have this problem.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's when my truck just pulled over. I mean, I had like 5 911 calls. It was a lot as far as that. But what's wild is that my mother had an appointment. At the very time I'm at this gas station and I'm surrounded by police officers, so yeah, so they um she stops and I ended up in ICU and things like that.
Mm.
But this time it was different. I woke up and I realized I heard for the first time in my life, and it was, you can call it my higher self, you can call it whatever you want to. I have my beliefs, but I heard that, I was worthy and I didn't have anything to prove. That's what I heard from within, that I had nothing to prove. So from that moment on, that's when the process started as far as the principles. So the honesty, I was taught different principles in this program and everything that I was in. And then um, as I began to do that, I started walking honesty, open
Mm.
mindedness. I started inventorying myself and self correcting and really looking at wait. And this is the beautiful thing about it for me was when I was able to find my part in any given situation in my life, I could feel the sense of power and that sense of like flow of energy and power within
Yeah.
me. And that's when I started going, well, I want to see more of my part. Like I have been giving my power away
Yeah.
24/7, and so I'm like, okay, well, they said I didn't have to go back to my childhood, but I would like to see what part is that. Okay, so I carried that all the way
Mm-hmm.
into my adulthood to use as a way to sabotage myself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I found a part in that I could play. That's just me.
Yeah, that's resonate.
Because they were like,
You
anything
can,
in your
yeah. I
childhood,
do feel like, yeah, that's a
you know,
good concept. You have a
yeah.
role to play in whatever.
Mhm.
Actually, you know what? I
Yeah,
need to write
so
that down. Where did I put my
I got
pen
you,
at?
Yamel.
Ah.
I got you. So I started seeing my part and everything. And so then what I had to do, the process, and this is the spiritual kindergarten, right?
Yeah,
This is what
yeah.
I went. So then they're like, okay, well now you need to go make amends to these people. And I was like, okay. Um, I had to become willing to do that. And once I seen my part, I went and did that. I made the amends to everybody for my part. And and one thing I did when I did that is I just went straight to the issue. Clean my side straight. I went straight to the issue. And I was just like, hey, this is what it is. This is what I did. I want to make amends with you. And how can I make it right? That was an important question that I was guided to do. So I went through that whole process. And one thing that I realized as far as that, the bare beginning now, that was the bare beginning, um, was walking this out. So every time I practice a principle and I apply action to that principle, that's what's going to teach me. That's what's going to give me the wisdom of that principle. I do not know anything about honesty if I'm not honest, right? So like I'm learning, well, this is uncomfortable being honest sometimes, or I might need to set about. But one also another thing, I'm getting led all sorts of ways. But another, I it's been a very beautiful process, but there have been a lot of emotional bottoms in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
journey.
It's a few of
A dark
those.
night of the soul, yeah.
I
The
feel
dark night of
though
the
that's
soul.
common because you do go deeper in things when
Hmm.
when you're on this journey because you see things deeper, so you go deeper, and when you do, you dive very low, and it feels like you're so low that you're almost like you feel like you're in hell, like you're just
Yeah.
nothing. It's just so much pain that when you finally do
Yes.
step out, you just feel like I don't know, like you were in Terminator, and that the way the skin would
What do
melt
you
off, and then
say?
pretty like it's just
Yes.
like you come back out and you rise, you're just like you got that
Wow, it's a
strength back.
whole new
Yeah,
world. It's
you
like
just
no,
feel like
it is.
that inner monster, and you just feels charged though.
Mhm.
But
Yes.
I like that concept, and that's one that I really do rock with because when you look at that, like one of the things that you have to realize is that imagine if everything was always good. Like then you're just like, yeah, that's normal though. Just like um I forget the name of the concept and I definitely could look it up. But it's like those concepts where they say if everything was easy all the time it would just be normal. It's not even easy. That's just normal. Like it's not
Right.
good, it's not great. And anything that you have all the time you get tired of it. Anything that's easy to come
Right.
it's no longer matters. So let's remember though that your happiness is on that same thing because that's the battle of life, ups and downs. So if you never go down, then you never feel how happy it is to be up. And so
Yes.
if always you've ever had a relationship that was always just okay and was just always great, you're like, yeah, it's cool, but it's kind of boring. Like, I mean,
Right.
it's I mean, it's cool. I like it, but it's just kind of it's
Hmm.
just humanity. So if that's the case, then we cannot be mad at every time things get low, because things get really fucking low. Things at times get very low, and the only thing
Hmm.
that's really keeping you afloat is that circle, that the collective that you have around you, that support system that you have keeping you up. So whereas one person in the group props us up, then the next person in the group props up. And then it may be like, all right, you're solid, you're standing straight. Okay, let's go over here. Now I need to prop you up. And so now, and then when you fall over, but if you think about it, um, it's just you look at some of these concepts in life and you think about like that's how trees are so strong. Not only do you see how high they go up in the air, but not all trees are like this, but the majority of trees have more depth underground than what you can see above the ground. So if that's the case, or if it has that much strength, then it's the roots matter just as much. But another thing about the roots, especially the taller trees, their roots can hold each other. So their roots literally underground will then create a mesh, lock into each other, and one tree will literally be holding up the next tree.
That
And
is so
so when you look
cool.
at that, it's a great way that you see nature is doing the same thing that we're doing. Whatever is next to you, whatever is in your inner circle, look, we're in this stuff together. So we're gonna do this shit together. Are you ready or not? So anyway, that was my long interruption.
Oh yeah, that like I don't know. That just not Okay, yeah, maybe I am a little bit of a tree hugger, but let me tell you something. When you said that the roots hold the other tree, like they interconnect like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, they do.
God, that
Yeah.
just like make I
If
don't
you
know. That
notice,
just hit
that's
me
probably why you
hard.
always see me do the images that I do. So
I
if
love
y'all ever notice
trees.
the
Oh
art
my
that I
God.
love, it's the concept behind it, but it's the concept that I learned that I'm presently most excited about, which is like interconnection, interconnectivity between the things that we have, and when they say like what is above is below, so like or so above so below, but when you look at again back to the tree, the top of the tree is literally what the bottom of the tree looks like. The only difference is one is roots to leaves and stems, and one is meant to capture the sun, and then the other one is I'm sorry, the leaves and stems to capture the sun, and the bottom is the roots. Um, and the roots to capture the minerals, to latch onto rocks, dirt, and things like that in the ground so that the minerals can be sucked up through the process of the sun. But it takes everything and it meets in the middle, it meets in the root, the trunk, and the leaf. They're all have something in there that's good for you. And the same thing goes with our bodies when you start with the top where you have your hair, your mind, your right there, and then you have your trunk or your, you have your middle chakras and things like that. It was middle of your system containing everything, and then you have your root where you're having, things like your gut and stuff like that. So it's a whole system that works all the way together, grounding just like your feet need grounded, your hair needs light, like that's why and so when you start to learn these concepts in a deeper way, it starts to show you that there's so much more so much more to know, so much more to learn when it comes to these concepts.
Wow.
I love it.
Well, it's hard to do that.
Yeah,
But that was really like, I love trees. Like I've always
yeah,
been drawn to trees. Always said I want to come back as a tree.
yeah,
Like, and I wrote poetry about trees. Just how like the bending. Like my view of it was more of like the bending through the different storms and like how a bird will make a nest in a tree,
yeah, yeah,
but like the tree has to let that bird go like when they're done, and it's there to be a home, but it has a form of surrender to it as well on that level. So can they hear me okay?
yeah,
I
yeah,
just want to make sure. Okay, but like on that level of like the tree surrenders, like
yeah,
the tree sacrifices, and then just to hear the makeup of the tree, like you just talked about like the physiology of the tree,
yeah,
like you know what I'm saying, and I'm talking about the psychology of the tree. It's so
yeah.
cool, like
Yeah, because
it's like-
it's important to realize that they're going together.
right.
So you talk about how it's made up and how it works and what it's able to do, and then you translate. Oh, your body has those same parts and mechanics. Okay, let's talk about the spirit of the tree too. We have that same thing. So
Yes, and
it's
the
very
principles
important.
it lives by.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah,
So these
like
are now we know that we brought it up. These are some of the topics that we need to go into. So I'm writing them down, making sure they're in the notebook, so that like, all right, Deva, we talked about the tree. Now we need to have a whole episode in great detail about this, so that we can show that concept. Show that to you and be able to explain
yeah.
to you how it's working and how these interconnected systems matter.
And on it just came to me when you were talking about it can get real dark sometimes, and I know for me, yeah, but I literally heard the darker the night, the brighter the sun. Like it's like,
Yeah.
and Shelly, who's in the chat on YouTube here, she, here I've been trudging this road for a long time, and for years, and I went through a pretty dark night of the soul, and when I came out of that, I've literally not stopped. The amount of energy and joy and this feeling of like it's going to be okay, because for me, I felt completely parted from everything, like as far as detached from it all. It was very difficult. I couldn't even tap into intuition, hear my spirit man. Like I couldn't do that. So it was extremely difficult, but I knew just to hold on, and that
Yeah.
rebirthing process would come. And it did.
Mm-hmm.
And it was awesome. Like, and it's like even today, it's like no matter what, as long as I have that, I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like, hey, I'm okay. And that internal bottom that you talk about, it was very internal for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, there's consequences for things. You lose things, and you get in different types of trouble. But there's something about that internal tires and that internal bottom that really um, did something to me, to where I really wanted to change, and that change had to come as within, so without. And there was a professor of mine, he said, you can't change the past, but you can heal the memory. Now, I had had
Oh, shit.
some time in uh, my awakening and my spiritual walk where I could understand that. And what it really meant to me is like, as my perception has grown, or not grown, as my perception has changed
Oh, yeah.
towards my life and my viewpoint, when I look, like today, my perception is totally different than it was back then. And
Yeah, right.
so when I look back so I'm like, well, let me use that perception in my memory. And then suddenly
Hmm.
it didn't hurt as bad because I could see it the
That
way
is
I'm seeing
that
now.
is a concept I've never even heard. That is one that I can hear. I already hear what you mean because I thought of it in a visual as you were saying. I could think of an exact. I I I did something similar to that, but I never heard the concept, and I didn't even finish the thought of it because I never realized that's what I was doing until you said it.
Yeah.
That's such a
And
good one.
isn't it
That's such a
wild
good
that,
one.
like, on this journey, like I said, I ended up in like a kind of a spiritual kindergarten, right? With a program that gave me the principles to take the actions, and I was on my way
Mm-hmm.
to, the next um, set of course that my life would take to get me to where I need to be. But like, and then your process, and it's like the same principles.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when
Yeah.
we were talking, it's like when I first talked to you, it was like the
The
same. I
same.
was
That's what I
like,
realized. That's what I
but
started to
totally
realize.
different.
Is it
Yes,
so
and
different?
that's what you were talking about.
Because basically what I realized, what I started to realize, and what I was having, a lot of people don't hear. The problem I was having was I would tell people what I think, and they would just be like, "Oh no, like what?" And it would just scare them off so much so that they were like, "Yo, I don't. Can we even be friends?" And I'm like, "Fuck."
Oh, that
Like you
process.
didn't even you didn't even know until I brought it up. You never even thought of it. Now all of a sudden you're like questioning everything. Like I don't know. It's weird, but it
Yes.
happens. Like I'm not joking. It has happened so many times I can't count. Like it's just. And so anyway, when it comes to that, like it's just a lot of people relate everything back to the lens that they're seeing it from, and that's where your point goes because it's saying that.
if
if
you were
you were
looking at
looking
it
at it
correctly,
correctly,
that
that
you
you
if you
if you
looked at
looked
it
at
from
it
what
from
you
what you
now
now
know,
know,
you could
you could
feel
feel
different
different
about the
about the
moment.
moment.
And
And
I
I
agree with
agree
that
with that
because
because
that's
that's
basically
basically
what
what
this is
this is
saying.
saying.
Whatever
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 moment or
moment or
whatever that
whatever
you're
that you're
seeing this
seeing this
from,
from,
if you
if you
see it
see it
now
now
with your
with your
new
new
understanding, it
understanding, it
changes
changes
how
how
it
it
feels.
feels.
Your
Your
understanding was
understanding
why
was
you
why you
felt that
felt
way
that
at
way
that
at that
time. Like
time.
this
Like this
person did
person
this
did
to
this
me,
to
or
me, or
this
this
happened to
happened
me
to me
because of
because of
this. And now
this.
you
And now
look
you look
back at that
back at
same
that
thing
same
and you
thing
say
and
to
you say to
yourself,
yourself,
"Oh, it had
"Oh, it had
nothing to
nothing
do
to
with
do
me.
with
I
me.
was
I
just
was just
there for
there
the,
for the,
you know what
Right.
I mean?" Like,
Or even on another scale is that like my view as I've grown in my awake, spirituality, it's like, I'm at the point where it's like, hey, this is the learning planet. Like I'm here to
mm-hmm.
gain all these lessons, and nothing that I go through is in vain. And
yeah,
how many
Yeah.
people I have helped with every single
yes,
experience,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
that I've been able to just, reach and pull them out of that hole, or jump in that hole with them, or pull them out of that fire, or carry them through, or like
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
help them if they want it, right?
Oh yeah,
Oh
you
yeah,
can't
But
you
help
can't help
anybody that don't
anybody that
want
don't
it.
want it.
yeah, so like looking
Definitely
Definitely
agree.
back,
agree.
yeah, like yeah, oh, I've tried that, like
Yep,
Yep.
yeah.
yep, yep.
But my thing is that now looking at life and the perspective I have of why I'm here, what's really going on, what does that mean to me? That's one thing one of my mentors always told me. He said, Amanda, whenever you see or read anything, any doctrine, anything, I want you to always ask yourself, what does that mean to me? And he said, and always, if someone says something to you that you do not understand, sounds real simple, right? And he would say, so simple, it'll go over your head. If someone says something to you, you don't understand, or you're wondering, you always say, what do you mean by that? So I started becoming really inquisitive, and I started asking myself things, and it just started happening. And it wasn't like this, it was a process. And also taking the actions. I was taught that one of the principles in the beginning of my journey was, I had to act my way into a new way of thinking. And I didn't realize until what, 10 years later or whenever, I was in college, and I found out that doing that actually is called neuroplasticity. And eventually there will be rewiring, and there's an
Mm-hmm.
actual, it lines up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like, I love finding out there's like, and usually, for me, I've seen science and spirituality can go hand in hand.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
So
to
yeah,
that's,
to
I
me
me
they
always
they
are.
are.
love when that happens. They
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
yeah.
In
And
my
In my
so,
opinion,
opinion,
the
the
deeper I
deeper
get
I get
into it, the
into it,
more
the
I
more I
think that
think
there
that
is
there
no
is no
difference.
difference.
I mean,
I
right.
mean,
other
other
than
than
maybe
maybe
one
one
little
little
part, but
part, but
even
even
that,
that,
I
I
feel like
feel like
eventually,
eventually,
once we
once we
get there, we'll
get there, we'll
figure it.
figure it.
Once
Once
humanity
humanity
gets to
gets
that
to that
level of
level of
science, we'll
science, we'll
figure that
figure
out
that out
too.
too.
But
But
I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
just
I
feel
just
like
feel
more
like more
things are
things are
interconnected
interconnected
systems than
systems
they're
than they're
not.
not.
Um,
Right.
more
More
things
things
are
are
interconnected
interconnected
in
in
biological and
biological
this
and this
blah blah
blah
blah
blah blah
ways than
ways
we
than
could
we
even
could even
imagine, and
imagine, and
things that
things
we
that
would
we would
think are
think are
nearly
nearly
impossible
impossible
with a
with a
piece of
piece of
science,
science.
it would
It would
change your
change your
perspective.
perspective.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
for
Like for
example,
example,
when
when
you
you
when
when
so
so
let's say
let's say
like
like
you're
you're
doing
doing
something, you're
something, you're
making
making
something
something
manifest, but you're
manifest, but you're
making it
making it
manifest off
manifest off
something that
something
you
that you
can't
can't
see,
see,
feel,
feel,
touch,
touch,
or
or
know,
know.
right? It's
Right?
just
It's just
happening.
happening.
The only
The only
reason why
reason
you
why
know
you
it
know
is
it
because
is
you're
because you're
bigger.
bigger.
But for
But for
example,
example,
let's say if you have two magnets, and you
and
can
you
make
can make
one
one
magnet
magnet
then
try and
pull
pull
itself to the
to the
next
next
magnet.
magnet.
So here you have
you
this
have
magnet,
this
and
magnet,
then
and
on the
then
other side you have another magnet, and you put
and
them
you put them
together. If you
together.
let
If you
go,
let go,
if they're strong
if
enough, if you
let go of
one,
one,
the magnet
the
will
magnet
fly,
will fly,
right? Because
Because
the
the
pull
pull
of one
of one
is so
is so
strong
strong
to the
to
other.
the other.
it
it
literally looks like
literally
it's,
looks
but
like
it's
it's,
not
but it's not
flying.
flying.
And we
And
all
we
know
all
it's
know
not
it's not
flying.
flying.
But if you
But if
took
you
that
took that
same
same
tech and then
tech
sent
and
it
then
a
sent
few
it a
years
few years
back,
back,
they'd be like,
what
what
the?
the? You're a
You're a
magician.
magician.
Like you are a
Right.
blah
You're
blah
a
blah.
blah.
Like you just. And nowadays, we're like, bro, it's not even. All you did was you know, it was like that.
It's
It's
simple.
not even that serious.
It's not
Bro,
it.
get
Out of here with that.
And there's so
And
many
there's so
things
many
in our
things in
life
our life
that we've accepted, that it's simple, and it is simple, now. But what's not simple is the concepts that are beneath it, and the concepts that made whatever weird thing or whatever happened is important. And that's what I always want to get to. I've realized that when you go to that level, when you hear things, you no longer challenge them for how they sound. You challenge them for the concept below it. So like most people would say that things that are above are not the same as they are below. You're like, what? You know, and most people will be like, all right, so you'll hear the concept, you know, the way if you're ugly inside, then you're ugly outside, or you're unhealthy inside, then that's why you see those things outside. It's not until your insides are so bad that you start to see the results of your uncleanliness inside exposed outwardly. So if that's the case, then that means that concept is true. Because if I'm that messed up, if everything is going bad, then that means that it must be true here. Because if I have something, let's say for example, and I'm just gonna use acne. Let's say I have really bad acne, and it's coming out of my face. And that means that what you're putting in is so bad that it can't come out naturally. It has to come out of your pores, right? There is actual reasons for all of these things. And the thing about it is what I realized how I had to grow up is that these are the things that make it so that these are the concepts that you have to go through and see to realize that everything is linked in some way. And so let's be more specific to me. I think before I finish, my point is more specific to me. So I grew up with terribly bad migraines, and for all of my life, nobody could figure out what was wrong. Nobody could figure it out. And it wasn't until I went on this journey that I just talked about. And during that time, I mean, literally, I'm talking from the time I started school till being an adult. I just couldn't. I had these migraines. They weren't going well for me. And it has an echo now. All right. Let's see if that stopped it. But so are you saying something, Luna? Oh, you can't hear now? That's weird. Why would it just randomly go out? I can't hear you. Can you now? Oh, okay. Weird. And now it has an echo. Can you still hear me? Oh, you're not saying anything now, though. Oh, you'll be back. I don't know. Okay. So what I was saying, hold on, let me make sure that everything's okay, y'all. Say something, Luna. Maybe it was. Did she get a call? I don't know. How did that change? You can't. No. Are you talking? I don't see your lips moving. Oh, yeah, you are. You are definitely moving. Why would it just randomly stop? Is that life saying, "Hey, look, move to another video"? You're getting long-winded. Uh, let's see here. Because nothing changed. I did not even touch the computer. Yeah, we'll close out. Anyway, guys, we'll continue on this concept later, and we'll just kind of go into it. It was a pretty good stream today, and I definitely had fun with you. But I'm not sure what's going on, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit more testing, and a little bit more learning. But until the next stream, we definitely had fun, and we'll continue this talk that we were having on part two, where we'll go in a little bit more about the individual pieces of the journey. Because in my opinion, it doesn't make sense to go too far into it, because it's too deep of a story for me to try and fill it all in. So I just went with the quick and easy. This is what we have. Boom, we're done. So I know Luna is saying she loves you, and thanks for watching. I don't know what happened with this sound, but I do appreciate you guys and everything for being here. Thanks for being at this